Hello everyone, welcome to Kashyappa Mountain Part 1. Today I am going to the holy place of Kashyappa, where once Kashyappa meditated, and also he uh, is meant to be there forever and meditating there forever until the future Buddha, Maitri Buddha, comes to this world in the future. We started our travel in the early morning at 5 o'clock because it's very important to start your travel as early as possible in India or at Gaya or in Bodh Gaya, where the summer heat or the sun is quite strong during the daytime. That's why we want to avoid the uh, heat of the sun while we climb up to the mountain of the Kashyappa mountain. Some important things you have to think before you make this travel. The one thing is that if you are visiting Kashyappa mountain, the local people call it Gurupa in Bodh Gaya, where Buddha enlightened. So it's not at the center of Bodh Gaya, but it's situated far away in Bodh Gaya. That means it has a distance of 1 and 15 minutes, or let's say if there is a traffic, it takes also, let's say, 1.5 or more than 1.5 hour. That means in total 2 hours until the destination. If you go to this place, very important thing is to let's say arrange some foods, drinks for travel. So one day before the travel, and then you can travel smoothly in the early morning, and you don't have any let's say thinking or trouble thinking on your, let's say, food or drinking, so on, because at this very remote place, foothill of the let's say mountain foot, there, this place is quite remote and village, and there is no such restaurants and hotels. That's why you have to prepare everything prior to your travel. So, as we started our journey in the early morning, there was not so traffic. Uh, the let's say the ride was quite pleasant in the car, and you can also book the taxi or car one day before at the Bodh Gaya or Mahabodhi temple. Outside of the Mahabodhi temple, there's a small market, and there you can find some travel agency. There you can book the your taxi for a few hours, or let's say for half day, one day, whatever, or only for uh, this trip to Kashyappa mountain. So it's quite relevant if you book only for that, because it's cheaper. If you book it for one day, it costs more. So the price of the your travel from Bodh Gaya main temple or Mahabodhi temple to Kashyapa mountain, or Gurupa, they call Gurupa. So it cost for one taxi, small taxi, for 4 people, let's say for 3 people, Small taxi can take up to 4 people, but it's enough for, let's say, not enough for 4 people if you seeking for comfortable. So it's good for 2 people, 3 people for small taxi, and then you have to pay only 2500 Indian rupee, not more than that. If you like the driver, you can just give him any tips, small tips or whatever you like. So it's just custom here in India. Whenever you have a good trip, you can give some tips. People even ask, driver can also ask for tips and so on. So you should have that in your let's say mind. You should know that before your booking. The road is not so smooth everywhere. At the beginning it was quite okay. It's highway, it's okay, but time to time there was bumpy road, or just, let's say, crackdown road, or whatever. The construction is going on, and so it's very normal in India. And so it is also fun at the same time to see all that, you know but we had a pleasant travel uh, until the Gurupa. Yeah, so on the way we saw many things, beautiful field, rice field, and, let's say, small um, houses and buildings and trees and coconut trees, or let's say palm trees. I don't know what that is, but I'm quite sure it's a coconut tree, what we are seeing now. And the grass and the greeneries are quite nice. The sky in the morning is perfect. As we approach near our destination, the sun was rising up and up. That means sun was very clear, reddish, and it makes you very happy when you see the sun, in this very first moment in the early morning. Sun comes up, and it's a very uh, lucky. We are lucky to see that, and we saw the sunrise. We enjoyed that, and we continued. So the sun is very special here when it rises up in the horizontal. It's quite nice to see that. And as we continued our travel, then there was a small, let's say, route through the villages. There are some villages we were crossing and so on. So it was quite pleasant to do that. And yeah, so it's very important if you could bring with you some caps or any kind of sunglasses or some cameras, to show that, to make sure that you will face heat and so on as you goes up in the mountain. And when you reach there in the top of the mountain, I think it's quite high, or you can feel the altitude there once you reach there on the top. This so-called Maha mountain is also very famous and well known for all the Mahayana followers of Buddhists. It's also important to see this place because in that place the great scholar Asanga lived here and meditated here for 12 years.